Hello and welcome back to the English broadcast of the LPL. It is the very final series of the regular season here in the summer split of the 2018 LPL, and it comes down to JD versus RNG. And of course, the standings and the stakes, they're still here. The difference of being top side of the bracket, bottom side of the bracket, difference between being round one between quarterfinals, and it's JD taking on the team they haven't lost to, RNG.
Yeah, definitely. RNG don't want to be third seed because in their recent performance versus Invictus Gaming looked very dominant. They took that series 2-0. And if we can extrapolate from that going into the playoffs, we could see RNG falling out relatively early and going straight into the qualifiers.
It's not been a good couple of weeks for RNG. Ignore Asian games. Yes, they were fantastic Asian games. Take that out of your memory banks. Think only of the LPL. Not being great. Coming out of the cross-conference. And on the opposite side, all right, you maybe look towards JD. But again, you have to ignore everything and just realize they're playing RNG right now. You know, it's just like when you play against RNG, it just seems to be like an auto win. I don't know what it is, but they just turn it on.
It's pretty funny because we were hoping that... we just had a little glitch right there.
Yeah, we just changed timelines real quick. Okay, we're now on the one where RNG is taking game one. But yeah, that's what they need right now. They need to change alternate dimensions for them to pick up this series.
We were hoping that JD Gaming would actually take the unofficial world champion away from LGD and then hand it back to RNG so they could finally take it to Worlds. That has been the League of Legends tradition. But unfortunately, they lost to LGD, but they're coming in, and they're most likely going to win against RNG. So, you know, world champions forever, LPL.
Yeah, there you go. LGD going to hold it all the way through the offseason as well. As you can see, 3-0 in best of 3, 7-2 overall record. That is just insanity. This is RNG we're talking about.
Yeah, and that has also been included with the game one that we just saw right there. So far, no single LPL team has been able to remain undefeated against RNG. JD Gaming are the last team to do so. So this is one of those big hurdles that they do have to cross. But I think in that game, we saw a very good exhibition of how you can defeat RNG. RNG, they certainly...
Just outplay them?
Well, that's part of it, but RNG have very clear tendencies. They are the 1-3-1 game. They do play for a later game, and they do play for a split push. And you could see their Kai'Sa composition, I don't think they had a solid early game idea of what they were going to do. JD Gaming was far better in the early game. Look at how much pressure they applied in the bot lane. There's 3 plays specifically. First of all, they caught out Karsa's level 2 cheese. He does it all the time, so they know about it. Second of all, they push the wave in level 3, duo level 3 versus duo level 2, tower dive, get both flashes, get first blood as well. And on the third wave, they do it again with minion dematerializer at level 5 versus level 4. So there was a lot of in-game strategies that were pre-planned, that they did their research on, and they knew how to crack that Kai'Sa egg.
And frankly, it just felt good even coming out of Champion Select. You know, we were talking about the amount of options they had. They had multiple good matchups they can draft themselves into. They end up going for the Zoni mid lane. Fantastic. It's an Orianna, whatever. Top lane, they managed to draft an Ornn into the Akali, getting the last pick. Bottom lane felt good as well. Clid got the pick of the litter. It felt like from start to finish, there was no real point where they were not in control.
Can I just say something? I feel like Orianna didn't do anything that game.
No, not really. I mean, we saw like a shockwave onto an Ornn, and that was essentially it. I mean, he never really got involved, Xiaohu.
Yeah, so I'm not sure that that's actually a winning matchup. You can see there's a lot of resources that need to be devoted to Orianna just to keep her safe in that lane. And in the team fight, when I think JD Gaming very cleverly picked a good tank front line, it's so hard to actually put the ball onto Loken. They didn't get a single shockwave onto Loken throughout the entire game.
Frankly, a lot of that came from the setup as well. You know, it's not all on the Orianna when you get out of the laning phase. It's on the setup coming in from the fact you have a Camille and you have a Rakan. I mean, if you're not getting the ball into the backline at that point, it's just like, what is going wrong, you know? And we saw one time the Rakan was able to make it to the backside, but at that point already so far behind, the Rakan pops like a balloon. The ball shockwave doesn't go up because he's being zoned away by the front line. So it's just like it was too little, too late from the lineup. But you also have to look at, like, imagine a different alternate reality where the bottom lane play works out for RNG, right? We don't have that series of unfortunate events coming forward. The Baron play doesn't happen. The team fight where your front line gets blown up doesn't happen. And then you actually have a setup on bottom side, and RNG can take a step back.
And 9 times out of 10, that 4-man play would have worked.
Yeah.
That would have worked, and that would be a correct play in my book. They would have opened up that side lane, so Let Me can split push even further. But, you know, sometimes that's the allure about League of Legends, that you can't outplay situations, and we see that happening in LPL, specifically with JD Gaming, over and over again.
Yes, you do. But again, we were talking about the fact if they push it later and later on into the game, then you're going to have an Akali who is going to kill Ashe. You know, it becomes an inevitability at a certain point. You could have Tam Kench, you can have a front line there, but eventually Akali will find a way into your backline and kill one of your squishies, or maybe both of them. So it's just like, again, if the game extended from there and wasn't super fast and accelerated that we saw out of JD, we could have had a very different game. So the tools were there coming out of RNG. I would like to see more in the early game and actually better lanes for themselves, because it feels like RNG never picked themselves into good drafts into into JD. So actually giving themselves more in the laning phase might be beneficial.
And I have to compliment JD Gaming's draft for that as well. They took away early game options away from Uzi and basically forced him or goaded him onto the Kai'Sa. They took away the Varus, they took away the Xayah. Those are the two most played next to the Kai'Sa for Uzi, and they basically told him, you have this one and only option. Will you take it?
Clement, like, I feel like that is such a good thing to say if it's anyone that isn't Uzi. Because it's like Uzi, even if he has all the other options, he's like, lock me in, Kai'Sa.
Yeah.
Lock it in. And he'll do it in like early rotation as well. He'll do it on like first or second rotation. It's like, all right, Uzi, whatever. I mean, he'll do the same thing with Ezreal. So you're totally right, but you've also got to bring the Uzi factor in, right? But JD, RNG going into game number 2 here for Champion Set. It's going to be the Varus, the Xayah, and the Akali ban towards RNG. They're going to take away the Aatrox, the Jace, and the Zoe.
So the only difference here is that they took away the Akali onto on blue side, so they probably don't want the potential for Xiaohu to take it as a last pick rotation into the mid lane. I can respect that. But here's the big question. What does Uzi take? He could go for the Ashe. He could try to take away this combination, or he could go for
Did you say Kai'Sa?
Oh no, he locked it in once more.
JD gonna first pick themselves a Tam Kench. Ashe still open for them if they want it. No Varus on the field, but again, it's Uzi. He's on the pitch. He's gonna pick up Kai'Sa. It's like New Age Vayne for him. It's just like, Kai'Sa's open, lock it in, and you can be 100% sure if you're a team facing Uzi, he's gonna do it. Gragas is gonna go alongside him. I actually do like the takeaway from Clid, even though his champion pool is gigantic. And Gangplank, early rotation coming in for Zoom.
Yeah, I definitely like the Gragas takeaway. I feel like RNG going to Asian games, they definitely learned the value of the Gragas, and Gragas is actually a semi-counter into the Tahm Kench. If Tahm Kench swallows someone, you could get a 1 for 2.
Yeah, it's a buy one, get one free. I mean, everyone's going to feel good about that one.
You nail the told, you get the tadpoles as well. It's great.
Yeah, there you go. RNG going to lock themselves the Ornn as well. It's actually just straight takeaways. Take away the Gragas, take away the Ornn.
All right, so RNG are thinking about going into the 5v5 versus JD Gaming. None of this wait till the 1-3-1 actually comes into form. They're going to close off sections of the map and try to straight force the 5v5.
Well, I know we said this in game 1, but I'm going to say it again. Yagao has another great option, and his name is Galio, right? Like, he plays a sick Zoe, he plays a sick Galio. That's immediately going to be the ban here from RNG, and they're just taking away tools that can get on top of the big carry. Like, if they're running a 1 or 2 carry composition right here with the Kai'Sa, maybe they lock in a carry in the mid lane for Xiaohu, they're going to need to start taking away tools that Yagao and, frankly, Clid have as well.
And if you look at the map right now, it's JD Gaming has a lot of global options. Once again, they have a lot of ability to shift their focus from one lane to the other. And because Kai'Sa was auto-locked in, they're going to have the pushing advantage once more in the bot lane. I think one of the big plays in game 1 was the ability to simply send Tahm Kench and Ashe into the mid lane since Kai'Sa can't push against you. And they're going to be able to repeat that play over and over again. That's so much pressure being put on the RNG composition, and it's going to force them to play safe in their other lanes.
Kindred ban here against Clid. JD looking towards the final ban. It was a Alistair and a Lulu ban actually here, so trying to take away facilitating picks for the Kai'Sa.
I like the read right here. They're basically reading RNG as putting everything into the Uzi basket. That's going to be their main source of damage. Nothing's coming from jungle. Nothing's coming from the top lane. So just try to take away those safe options that allow Uzi to dish out damage.
I mean, sometimes you just get a game where Uzi pops off. And if it happens to be this one, then it seems to be putting all the eggs in that basket. Karma, if you don't have a Lulu, pick up the Karma. Right. They were so in this Uzi basket right now.
I know. I'm actually really worried about this. I feel like this is a Uzi dictated draft.
Yeah.
I don't actually think.
It's like, look at me, I am the drafting coach now.
Hard is saying, can you pick the Jhin? How about the Ashe? It's like,
first pick me Kai'Sa.
No, we're gonna go down.
Oh my
with
god,
this
he's
strategy
locked in
all the way.
Incredible. I mean, this was a Clid special. You know, if it's not Lee Sin, you're going to be looking towards something like a Rengar as well. Going to be the rise on top of that for your Gao. JD a setter.
Yeah, this is one of those specialty picks that we've seen from Clid from time to time again, but the basic idea is that it actually has tremendous ganking potential in the bottom side.
Yeah.
We've seen him just go through the lane, either flash into the first brush, and then he could get 2 or even 3 brush resets and instantly kill your bot laner. So it's a very focused bot lane pick once more.
I mean, where else are you going to focus? RNG, literally, like, they are the worst at poker. They just, like, they get their hands and they immediately put it onto the table. And you're just like, well, I guess they're going to play around bot side, aren't they? Here comes the Vel'Koz pick out of RNG, so they're actually going to have another threat in their mid lane coming out of Xiaohu, but primarily that consistent damage is going to be coming out of Uzi.
And the Vel'Koz is a good counter pick into the Ryze. It's really hard for the Ryze to walk up, but you have to factor in the Rengar. And if you factor that in, you have to realize that it's pretty hard for the Vel'Koz to actually survive any of this. And you also have to remember that in the bottom side, actually, if the Karma is going into the bot side, then at least they will secure push in the bottom lane. So I really like that Karma pick coming out from Ming. They're identifying some of their problems in game 1, and they're saying, okay, Karma's not in meta, hasn't been in quite a decent time. The shield was heavily nerfed. The duration of the shield is no longer there, but we need to push in the bot lane. We can't let Tahm Kench roam around the map.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, they saw the Lulu banner and were just like, all right, budget Lulu, lock it in. Here's the Karma. But yeah, you're right. The push is also going to be great into the bottom side. In the mid lane, there are very few circumstances where I look at Vel'Koz and I'm just like, this is a great pick right here. And it really has to be like last pick, red side, into a composition where you have the setup for it. But so far in the LPL, we've had, this will be the 7th game now. Out of the 6 games, won 2 games. Because the Vel'Koz just gets blown up at the start of the fight every single time.
So the good thing about a Vel'Koz is if you have a long range composition and they have to walk into you, and they're all maybe fighting your melee champions, that would be really good. But if you look at this comp, a lot of the times, JD Gaming's members, they're actually going to come in from behind you.
Yep.
Rengar is going to jump in, Tahm Kench is going to teleport right next to you, Ra is also the Realm Morph. You don't really have the time to set up and fire in one single direction. As Vel'Koz, you're an artillery piece. You want to go off in a single direction. You don't want to have to change your gears around, and I just don't see this RNG composition working for them. It's basically they're standing and they're choosing to die on this hill, and that hill will be Uzi's Kai'Sa.
Yeah, I mean, and Vel'Koz will be on that hill, but no one else will be there. You know, it's just gonna be Vel'Koz and be like team, and like already Uzi's dived into the back line because these team fights are gonna be chaotic. Either it's gonna be a surgical removal of any one of the carries from RNG by the Rengar, or it's going to be a just complete mess. You know, it's not going to be front to back right here because Rengar will be in behind them. But coming into the second game, we'll see what RNG have for us and whether they can execute on this composition, because otherwise, this is going to be a clean sweep from JD. Shout outs to you 5 JD fans in the audience there with the JD manager still loud as ever.
Yep. You gotta love their manager, a little yellow. He's always there and you know, giving out gifts, preparing cakes or drafts for the JD fans. And
I was there on Suning Day.
Yeah.
I watched the final game from the audience because
it didn't sound like Suning Day.
No, it didn't. I accidentally sat next to the JD manager, and I think he just blew up my eardrums. That guy is incredibly loud.
Yeah, and he's kind of a small dude as well, but his volume is just through the roof. Absolutely amazing. We talked about this with the JD Gaming players, and they were like, you know, when we hear that voice, we know we're at home. It doesn't matter
it's the
which
war
stadium
chant, man. Yeah.
And this is the cheese we're talking about, but good on RNG to spot this out. We've seen this so many times from Clid. And, okay, Clid, come on, man. You've got to know. He's already flashed the finger at you. He's dancing.
Yeah, yep. He gave it again. He knows you're there, man. Yeah, so he's going to go back into his jungle. I mean, hey, Karsa got his attempt at the level 2 cheese in game 1. I can try my level 2 cheese as well. You know, you got to give it to him. But back into this mid lane, we've got Xiaohu. He's going to be picking up Inspiration first, taking the Glacial Augment, going for Domination second, cheap shot.
So we're basically seeing the cool build come out. We've seen a lot of Vel'Koz's. Typically, they do go for the Arcane Comet, but this new build coming out from Cool is more about the skirmishing potential, actually. You do have a good chance of slowing down people and following up with your skill shots. We do see the Twin Shadows being one of the key purchases in this build just to help out in the fighting. So, you know, Vel'Koz originally started out as an LCK pick, but we're bringing our own LPL flavor to it.
We are. And I feel like the flavor might need some adaptation as time goes on, because, again, hasn't found a lot of success in the LPL so far, but we'll see if they can make it happen right here, because RNG back up against the wall right now. And as we've said before, this game means a lot right now. RNG is the difference between them facing down EDG and Invictus Gaming in one side of the bracket, barrowing through them, or you go top side and it's just Rogue Warriors. And you also get a round 1 bye.
Yeah, it's definitely massive for them. RNG are going to try the same thing that Jingdong did, but look at the minion dematerializer and the wave situation. I don't think they're going to find an opportunity.
Wave? There is no wave here. There's another one flying in, but Loken will be able to step up and just weaken it as it comes in. And Karsa spending a lot of time in the bottom lane. He's still trying to make this dive happen, even though Tam Kencha's here. There is no jungler to help them out, so it will be a 3 versus 2, but the level 3 has already been picked up by Lumao and Loken. Instant heal comes in, splitting them up with the barrel, putting the damage down to Lumao once again. Going to take a tower shot onto Karsa, and a teleport not going to be completed here. Karsa might actually choose to go back in around this one.
Again.
Yeah, Lumao very low on HP. Going to put the ward over. He knows that Rengar isn't here. Throws out yet another barrel roll, blocking it up. Ming pushing forwards, takes a tower shot. This is very messy right now, and RNG wasting a lot of time with their jungler.
Yeah, and Clid actually gets all that he lost on the early level 2 cheese back into his own favor. So a really good diffusal coming out from JD Gaming. I did like the idea coming out from Karsa, though. He definitely understood Clid's pathing. He knew that he cleared the 2 camps here, was likely going back to base. The early clears from Rengar are not that healthy, so he understood that he would be spending a lot of time bot, and he would have a lot of time to operate in the bottom lane. So I really like that play from Karsa, and this is one of his old flash rolls tricks that he does over and over again. But, you know, JD Gaming, once again, I think they played it with a lot of composure. They never let the double stun go down. They used the early heal just to keep everyone alive. So, you know, it was really well done on their part to defuse the situation.
Yeah, that's the big word for me right there, diffusing situations. You know, either it's going to be explosive, you think of Zoom, or it's just going to be wasting a lot of time of RNG. Puts Karsa behind in terms of farm. You can see actually Clid just dings level 4. Now he's pushing into the enemy jungle alongside Lumao. Looking for a potential setup into mid lane. The wave's about to crash right down the middle.
Oh, they do have Karsa's timer right here. They know that he's going to swing towards the right side. Well, they don't catch him.
No, they're choosing to back away from this play. It's a ward down in River. Actually going to go back into the side of the map. It's going to be a flash and the laser going forward. The flash comes in from Lumao. Saves the mid laner. Turns back on towards Karsa. That's going to be first blood. Xiaohu trying to make it back to his town, fly away, but Clid's going to find the kill. 2 kills to JD.
And RNG go for the risky play, but a level 3 Lumao didn't go back to bot lane. He stayed around looking for the play. That was unexpected. The mid laner from RNG was already level 6. You know, it's a massive risk for Lumao to be roaming when he's that far behind the experience curve, but he still makes it work right here. This is a very good play coming out from RNG, but you just don't expect to see a Toad coming around the corner.
Kench, man. Absolutely unbelievable coming in, and Clid just chases him down. I mean, what else are you going to do? You already get snared up. It was a good cleanse queen through from Xiaohu, but he was just too far pushed up and near Vel'Koz.
Yeah, and I can't fault RNG for that play. If you look at the path that Karsa took, he wasn't spotted out by any vision, and RNG were already pushing down into the bot lane. So they were forcing a situation where Lumao was going to miss a lot of experience if he stayed around mid, but Lumao, you know, he still did it. He stayed around
Yeah,
mid.
I mean, that was the thing, right? Because it's like JD were looking for the setup play, and it's just like, I guess it's not going to work out. We're going to have to take the long walk home, and then instantly RNG set up their own play. It's like, fantastic. It was all worth it. Clear with the counter gang.
All planned.
Burn the flash, yeah, all planned. First blood and another kill on top of it. One goes to the Rengar, one goes to the mid lane. And it's just like, oh, this mid lane matchup for the Vel'Koz that's meant to be going well. Well, your enemy mid lane's just ahead of you. Into the jungle, you've got this Rengar who's specifically designed to kill the squishes in the back lane. Well, he just got accelerated as well.
Yeah, the big problem for Uzi right now is he actually can't push up anymore.
Yep.
That lane with the double brushes, if you push up against a level 6 Clid, you're just dead. And the same does apply to Xiaohu as well. So for JD Gaming, they can they can basically have so much pressure in the bottom side of the map. They also have the cannon barrage. And they could really look to push these two lanes out and try to force into the blue side jungle.
Karsa's actually pathing towards the bot side, but Clid's going to do the same. Feels like this is a read coming out of Karsa. He's like, well, I know this is going to happen. There's a setup right now. Uzi low. He's kiting back towards his tower. Ming going to be under attack. Finds the chains right there. And Karsa just behind him. Still managed to find a kill onto the Toad. But Uzi now under attack. Loken kiting it back towards the tower. Double kill coming in for Yagao. Xiaohu in from the mid lane. He's got everything charged up. Doesn't land the combo. Throws out the laser right here. And Loken low, but it's not going to be a kill. Clid zoning him away. Takes the Plasma Fusion coming in there, and it's going to be a chase back to the tower. Again, Karsa trying to get involved, but another massive win coming in for JD.
Yeah, it looked so good for RNG for a moment right there. They did get the good cats knocked back onto Luma and took him out first, but JD Gaming were already in position, and this bot lane is such an ideal scenario for a Rengar to really play in. We've seen Clid play this pick before, and the reasoning for it has always been relatively the same. It's just the side lane pressure you exert is just too great. Look at the opening play we were talking about. It forces multiple flashes out coming from RNG. They get the good start of the fight. It looks good for a moment, but Yagao's already on the play. And this is where JD Gaming really trumps over other teams. Their solo lanes, their jungler, they're always faster to rotate on the position. They don't care about farm as much as other teams.
And just unfortunate coming out of Xiao, who just literally misses every skill shot, and he's just like, well, I guess I'll throw out the laser since I'm here. It's just like, it's just not enough damage to kill Loki. You know, you're expecting the research to come in to have the true damage, but literally just walks straight through the skill shots. And again, it's just in the moment, the execution doesn't go well for RNG. JD turn up to the play, equal members, and you've got 3 kills now over to Yagao into the mid lane. And it just seems like out of the laning phase that JD are straight up winning in these skirmishes.
I have to say, it doesn't feel like RNG actually have a very coherent laning phase strategy. Like, I feel like JD Gaming strategy is far superior. They have the gank pressure in the bot lane. If they get the push in the bot lane, they can move it into the mid lane where there's a very easy kill onto Xiaohu as well. And it's just so fluid. They have a lot of moving pieces around. And it's very easy to think about how you can actually create pressure. For RNG, there's none of that.
Now,
you actually just don't know what you're supposed to do here.
I don't want to say this is because RNG showed all their cards at the start of Champions League.
But you want to say it
I'm
anyway.
going to say it's because they showed all the cards at the start of Champions League. Last time around, we see the Akali coming through. It's like, whoa, well, great. I've got 3 options where I can deal with this Akali now. Fantastic. Even if it goes middle top. Game 2, we have another early rotation of the Kai'Sa. And then you have an immediate setup of the tank front line. You're like, oh, I wonder what composition this is going to be from RNG. You're like, fantastic. Lock me in the Rengar. Give me everything that I need. Mid lane setup, though. Karsa comes in. The lockdown's good. It's going to be instant frag onto Yagao.
Yeah, that was a great combo in with the early Twin Shadows to lock him down with the CC chain. And that really is the cool special about the Vel'Koz. You know, Comet's better if you're laning phase, you're poking with each other. But if you're just playing for the kills, playing for the skirmishes, this is the build you want to go for. And they're instantly transitioning that mid-game advantage over here towards the bot lane. They're forcing Rengar to show himself mid, or at least they expect him to show himself mid. And Karsa is already 1 step ahead, coming to the bot.
Yeah, on his way.
No flash.
Kai'Sa pushing forward right here, but instant gobble up there, and Mao just gets knocked against the wall. He's going to be like, well, I'm fine with this, and throws Loken back behind his tower.
Oh, that was so close.
The defusal, Mao, don't walk into that brush. Gets caught out by the Plasma Vision right there, and the full combo. What an arrow! Out from Loken. No combo for you, Xiaohu.
And they do save the play stemming in from the mid lane right there. That was misexecution from Karsa. If he had a better angle on the ultimate, he could have got both of the bot lane duo with no flashes. And that should have been at least 1 kill.
Follow through coming in from the round warp right here. Bissell Voyager from the bottom lane. Yagal's already got the room prison and cleared. Blows up Casa. It's going to be a quick kill into the jungle. 5-2 right now. Ornhorn in from the top lane. They managed to catch out Yagal. He walks the wrong way from his team. Teleport coming in, but Loken gets the kill into Ming. Catching RNG in rotation. Uzi kites out of the way, but Klid finds him again. Not a kill over to Loken.
Oh man, Klid is just doing a Tigger's impression right now. The jumping tiger from the brush.
I don't remember Tigger being that aggro in Winnie the Pooh.
Well, look, if you're going to fight a Rengar in the pixel brush, you're going to have a bad time. He got 4 jumps right there on that single brush. And as much as I admire RNG's tenacity to try to claw that play back, it was a really bad terrain situation to do that in. So this is RNG trying to rotate themselves back into the play, but you can tell with the global mobility coming in from JD Gaming, it's so hard for them to get away from this play. And Yagal just takes too long to kill. And just look at Lumal. He has Klid come into the brush. He gets 1 jump, 2 jump. He gets a 3rd jump. So sorry, probably not 4, but you know, it's so dangerous to actually fight Rengar right there. It's like, here, have a free auto attack reset.
I mean, like 3, 4, once you're up to that number, it's just like, that's already too much. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
Not very well thought out from RNG, I have to say.
And I don't know how many times I need to keep saying it, Clement, but like, it's just down to the execution in the moment. You know, you can say what you want about the draft, what you want about the setups around the mid game, around the skirmishes, but in the moment, JD are just straight out playing RNG.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we are sweating right now because RNG, our whole year's worth of narrative has been building on this team. We do want to see them represent, but their path is going to be very treacherous if they do fall to that 3rd seed.
I mean, it's
and
potential
it is their own
15 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 best-of-3s. Then you've got regionals as well, depending on how you're going to approach using points. It's just like...
I think there's only 1 best-of-3s, and the rest of them will be best-of-5s.
Well, it's weighted.
Weighted on the
so
first round.
it's technically a best-of-5, but there's a weighted game. So 14 potential games. It's just a long trek for a team like RNG, who you're expecting just to come in as like the straight representatives, #1 seed coming out of China. And right now they're being stopped at the final hurdle by JD.
Yeah, I'm really happy for JD Gaming. It's so cool to see young teams step up in the LPL, and it's so consistent about the LPL that our talent pool is able to sustain this. Yep. Every single year, we have one team pop out of the woodwork and be like, wait a minute, this is a world-worthy team. And so far, really only the LPL has been able to do that year on end.
RNG, we're 14 minutes into this game. It feels a lot longer, to be honest, the amount of action we've had in this early game. But we're now finally going to have Uzi and Ming transitioning up to the top side of the map. Zoom, walking away from this
he smells it.
Yeah, he definitely does. It's going to be knocked up right here. Uzi coming in with the killer instincts and Casa following through as well. Not even needed on the play. Will be a nice kill onto Zoom. What are they going to convert into? The whole family's here, actually. 5 members in the top side. Bottom lane's going to be traded at least from JD. And a mid lane pressure as well here.
Yeah, this is going to be a race for the first tower, but it should go to JD Gaming. RNG are looking for the Herald trade to really balance this out. And that should give JD Gaming enough time to push to the 2nd tower if they so choose to.
Well, the minion wave is going to be wiped out. Yagao getting caught on that knock-up right there, and the follow-through coming in from the Ornn. Yagao flashing away, and there's Mao once again. Of course he's there. The arrow comes right slap bang into the mid lane onto Zhao, who he takes the time out. But it's just the safest Tam Kench in the East right here. He's just always there with the save onto Yagao.
Yeah, and so far RNG are only able to trade back 1 tower for losing the first brick and getting their mid tower basically chipped till half. So I have to say, overall, this is not a win for RNG. Like, this is definitely one of those situations where you said JD Gaming outplayed the initial loss of Zoom.
7-4, JD commanding in terms of gold. And Gangplank sitting pretty right now, just waiting in top lane, absorbing the farm. He's actually just picked up his first item, moving on towards his second. On the opposite side, just picking up the Iceborne Gauntlet. Mid lane, Twin Shadow is actually coming up from Zhao on this wild cards instead of the Gragas this time around.
So I think the only solace RNG really does have right now is that it's going to be very hard for Zoom to continue to push up. he's really not at that point where he has maybe 3 items completed, where he has a Sterex, and he can kind of play the split pushing game. He's basically full damage right now, and you can see he has to play very safe whenever he crosses river. And what this dynamic should create is a lot of time for Uzi to actually farm up. I actually expect the next 5 or 6 minutes to be relatively, relatively peaceful for these two teams.
For now.
For now.
But for now. Because I'm still looking down the barrel, and I'm sure Uzi is as well, at a Rengar who's 204, who's been accelerated in the Lyson build. Looks like he's going towards the Black Cleaver, actually, but into the mid lane. Let me, lining up the shot.
Good flash away.
Didn't quite get him, but yeah, did burn the flash right there from Lumao. And RNG setting him in the mid lane. He has Shelly ready to go. Actually, take a look to the top side. Clid setting up to see if he can find a frag on the back.
Here comes Clid.
It's going to be Talent in the mid lane. Great cleanse coming through from Jao.
Look at
Uzi
Uzi's
almost
HP.
instantly dying to the Rengar. Luma gets thrown into the team, but may have just secured the fate of Uzi. He has to blast the wall. That will be a barrel roll finding the kill, but Casa now being chased back. Laser over the wall. Massive damage going on to 3. Zoom finds the perfect time, but they've just opened up the shadows with that Hawk shot. Lots of skill shots going into this narrow corridor. Corridor stops JD from pushing any further.
And that was really dangerous from RNG, but they do get what they came for, the mid lane tower and an extra kill here. Trading this mid lane tower back, I don't think it's that much of a loss for them. They've already had it pretty low, but what I really want to pull attention to that fight was how much damage Clid was actually able to do to Uzi, and we've seen his build path. It's full damage. Don't worry about it. After the Black Cleaver, you're going to see a little bit more lethality coming in to finish off the build, or at very least, a Guardian's Angel. And in the late game, you can't outscale the damage from a Rengar. So it's just kind of a preview of what's going to come later down in the team fights.
Yeah, I mean, that was an extra longsword away from that just being an insta-kill, to be honest. Yeah, Clid gets chased down, eventually dies to Casa. And luckily, RNG were able to escape to the top side using these choke points, but that almost went really badly. Look at all the low health bars from RNG. That's like a couple auto attacks away from being a triple kill coming there for JD.
Yeah, definitely was a very tough situation for RNG. They actually played it incredibly well, and you could see the Karma pick, what they were thinking about keeping Uzi alive, giving him credence to this Kaisa gameplay.
But for now, RNG are holding on to this game, and I will say at this point in time, it's looking much better for the team than it was in Game 1. The fact that we're actually getting the Kai'Sa and the Vel'Koz out of laning phase towards the mid-game is just night and day, honestly. At this point in the game, that it was almost just lights out for RNG. Mid lane, there's rotation here from JD. Lemmy's going to be opening up with the Horn. There's going to be a massive ultimate coming through. Knocks Lumao before he can even get his shield off right there. Good Ash Arrow coming through, and Yagao kind of separates from the pack. Forces the Loken flash out from the laser. And Uzi taking so much damage right here. Zoom pushing forward. The slowdown to Uzi is good, but he's knocked away. Back to the rest of his team. Zoom dodges out the plasma fission. He's going to be good for now. No kills, actually, just apart from Mao's death right there. So it's just the one lone catfish.
Insanely tense situation. You can see the comeback from JD Gaming. Their only death was the support, so they kept all of their damage intact. And the start of that, the starting salvos of that was the cannon barrage onto 4 people, the entire backline. And you could see that instantly forced RNG to reconsider their position, give up the chase, go back. But, you know, once again, I still think RNG did win this round. They did find the important kill, but what I want to see from Karsa is for him to get a 1-for-2 situation. Like, so far, he's been a little bit off with the timing, just a little bit off, and that would have been the difference between getting Loken as well and only getting Lumao.
Yeah, 20 minutes into this one, and RNG actually starting to go toe-to-toe with JD in these team fights. It's the first time in this series that have actually gotten to a point where RNG are able to compete with them, at the very least, trade up. You know, I actually don't know if I've even seen a single fight up until this point where they're actually trading up. Yes, it's only 1 kill, and they're able to defuse the rest of the fight, but way better than last time around. Xiaohu getting chased down. Flash forwards from Yagao, just barely out of range of that Rune Prison. Got the rest of the team coming up though. Lumao comes here, instantly re-gobbles the Ashe, takes him to safety, but Ming chasing down the Tam Catch, forces out the cleanse. In comes Uzi, right into the middle of 4 people. He's gonna get focused down, but he's still alive. Finally he drops before taking 2 people with him. The rest of the RNG will clean up the mess, take down Yagao right here. It's gonna take a while, but eventually they drop him. It's a 3-for-1 trade.
And a massive overreach from JD Gaming. Now, that part of the map is where RNG excels at. If you go back to Rift Rivals, that's basically where LCK made their last stand right there.
Yep.
So, you know, it's a bit of a difficult situation to actually make picks there, and they really weren't coordinated or fast enough on the play. It seemed like JD, some of them wanted to go in, but not everyone was willing to commit. And that's just a massive window for RNG. There's still 2 members on the map, and most importantly, Clid is still around there, so they do back out, however.
Yeah, so it won't be a Baron, so it's not going to go from bad to worse. But again, it felt like JD did a bit of an RNG. You know, they kept on going. It's just like, no, we've got to kill him. We've got to follow all the way down to tower, even though we're too far a range to CC him down, and they walk right into a Vel'Koz laser.
Yeah, that was definitely caught between a rock and a hard place, between 2 towers, and Let Me just comes in, patiently waits to get the maximum knockups. Gets the first part of the ultimate anyway, and simple cleanup from there. You could see that there was no chance for Zoom to actually teleport into the fight, so he was just, you know, guys, I put my ultimate down. What more do you want from me?
I mean, you're technically right, it was a rock and a hard place, but JD put themselves between that rock and the hard place. It was like watching 127 hours again. It was just like, why are you still there? You know, at a certain point, just leave. You have free will. You just turn around right now. There's no point. You can carry on sieging the top tower.
Just cut your hand off and leave. You know, like Yagal's just gone in too far.
Exactly.
Duyamal was trying to keep his streak straight. You know, he's already saved Yagal 2 times before. He's like, I need to go for that 3rd save. That's gonna write me down in the history books.
Yeah, exactly.
It goes like in. It's like,
the montage is only up to 4 minutes. We've got to make this a full video, folks. No, I mean, RNG are just like, fantastic. We'll take the win right here. And when you have a Kai'Sa to set up for the rest of the team, you're absolutely going to take it. Killer Instinct, where is it? He's going to fly through right on to the Tam Kench once again. This time he gets the shield, but it's not going to matter. He's completely by himself. That was an arrow flying past, and RNG will get themselves another pick. They actually fly towards the mid lane right here, try and deal some damage towards these structures.
And here's the question, can RNG actually make this into a Baron play? I believe so. JD Gaming don't really have the tanking ability to go straight front to back against RNG right now.
Focusing down on to the Baron, down to half already. Zoom setting up the barrels, though, on the front.
It's a good barrel, does get Karsa pretty low.
Yeah, it feels like RNG aren't particularly feeling this, and Clid also pops the ultimate. They know that the Rengar is close. Multiple low health targets.
Karsa, don't walk that way.
He definitely knows, yeah. Rejoin the rest of the team right there. Ornn going to be spotting out Clid. They knew he was there, but it's actually, look at all this space that he's just been opened up by this Rengar. And JD, like, fantastic. We'll just take mid lane.
This is the true potential of the Babush Cat. Basically, he forces you to walk away from every single bush. He's only in one of them, but you feel like he's in every single one of them at the same time.
Right there. Yeah. He's in every single bush at the same time. The fact that JD managed to convert a Baron play or a potential attempt there from RNG into an inner mid lane tower, insane.
Yeah, but they do need to clean up their gameplay. The last 5 minutes for them have been surprisingly bloody and surprisingly sloppy, like you said right there.
But the big thing is, you can't give an inch to RNG. You know, at the end of the day, even though you have the winning record and you seem to be the kryptonite, eventually RNG, if you give them something, they will run away with the game and they will run away with the series. This is still RNG.
Yeah, basically if RNG are in position and they take a 35-minute Baron fight, I feel like their 5v5 is so much more stronger. JD Gaming, they are the more rotational-based type of composition. They have a bit of mobility, a lot of globals, but they need to use it while the game is still in the phase where it's not always centered around Baron and Elder.
Exactly. I mean, your individual pieces are really strong if you're JD, and if you look at that first game as a microcosm, and in fact, all of the games that they've played against RNG, it's usually them finding the advantage and finding the lead before you even get up to those fights. Yes, in this game, they still have a 4,000 gold advantage. It doesn't really feel like it, though. No. When you find these fights, when you look at these skirmishes, RNG are still able to face them toe-to-toe, and RNG never really got up to the point where it feels like you've got a game like this. You never really see a JD shutdown at this point in the game. This is actually what 2 of the wins that RNG have managed to pick up against JD looked like, where they were actually able to set up relatively even towards the mid-game and 5v5 them.
Great
that
steal
feels
coming
bad.
in from Karsa.
Yeah.
Gets the 140 gold. Might catch a go.
Oh, arrow coming through, and he's knocked right out of the round warp. He's caught, flashes over the wall.
He gets away.
He managed to escape. Yes, he did. I mean, he'll probably be thanking Karsa on that one. Definitely rode the wave and was like, awesome, next to a wall, goodbye. But they're still able to open up now onto this Baron, dropping it just below half. Here comes a massive Gangplank ultimate, slowing them down. JD, they're pushing forwards, and Clid looking for the target to jump in right there, but he's slowed down from the Baron and the from the barrel roll coming in there from
Logan
Gragas.
taking a lot of Baron damage as well. Actually took 2 shots to the face right there. He's forced to back out and wait for his red buff. Can Kill do it?
Whoa, tries to get in there, but again, on with the confirm onto the Baron. They'll get themselves a cat on top of that. So a kill and the Baron going into RNG.
Every time I see Let Me on Ornn, it just feels so peaceful. Like, you find your inner peace. You feel like you're going back to your grandma's for dinner.
Zen moment, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm in good hands. Let Me's gonna carry me. If he's on Ornn, nothing wrong will go. Nothing bad will actually happen. That's the same way I felt in Asian games when they closed the series out.
That's true, yeah.
It was the Ornn horn, and Let Me is just immaculate on this champion right here. I feel like there was a lot of initial mistakes coming in from JD Gaming. They actually took a lot of unnecessary Baron damage and then had to walk in a state where they weren't really that healthy. And pretty much their only option there was the steal.
Yeah, it did have to come down to that in the end. The setup was nice from the Gangplank. I thought they might be able to fight that one front to back, but the Rango couldn't really get in range of any of the targets he wanted to blow up. And yeah, RNG pick up the Baron right here, feeling pretty good about life currently. Only about 1,500 gold behind, which is way better than the 4,000 we just mentioned maybe 2 minutes ago. RNG will also get themselves their 3rd dragon of the game, and control is slowly starting to shift back over to RNG's favor as they push down the mid wave right here. They have a minion wave, the rest of the team. Nice side wave control coming in from JD, but still mid lane will be cracked open. They're actually looking for more, trying to set up onto this inhibitor tower.
I think the key member we should be looking at is Zoom. RNG actually have fairly limited range, so if you can find a big explosive cask, the barrels onto the bot side, onto the back line, they could stop the push entirely.
Didn't happen though. Nope. RNG just pushed into the base and took everything they wanted. They'll move into the top side, and that is a gigantic minion wave. I can't believe no one from JD actually decided to at least try and trim the wave there. That's going to be a nice barrel coming across, but again, all the caster minions are still there. Going to have to burn the Gangplank ultimate on that. So they will at least stop the second inhib from going down. Maybe.
This is one of those situations where your own high ground choke is actually not beneficial for you.
Oh, Ornhorn, the team is already split up right here. Again, Yagao thrown into the team, and it's just all the CC. Oh. Again, another save coming out from Lumao. And Zoom lands a nice barrel onto the backline. Good. Looking for the assassinate. Sees Ming, sees Karsa, but then looking towards this inhib. Everyone's got the shield, and RNG are calling the retreat.
All right, now that was just a fake out coming in from Yagao. There was nothing to defend there, so he just wanted to... Oh, actually, the inhibitor is still up. Excuse me. Just wanted to get a little bit of time for RNG to back off.
That was really well played by RNG, though. Just pushing in when they have the advantage, dipping back when they see the potential of the Rengar coming in there, and managed to pick up 2 inhibitors very cleanly.
Yeah, and I think their positioning this entire game has been immaculate. Like, Uzi has been in no danger whatsoever. Like, outside of the laning phase, it's been completely fine. And I really like what RNG are doing in terms of the terrain. Like, they're looking at this choke, and they're saying, this is your high ground, this is your doorstep, but this is actually beneficial for us. If we put Lemmy between you and our backline and Uzi, then there's really no chance for you to stop our damage output.
And JD firmly on the back foot, just trying to put down shallow vision into their jungle, see if they can maybe get themselves a pick with this Rengar. But for now, RNG just seem so far ahead when it comes to the just straight 5-on-5. I don't really see how RNG just lose, honestly. They have so much shielding coming in for the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's just sitting pretty on triple items right now. Mid lane, Jiaohu, the Vel'Koz pick hasn't been as much as an issue as I expected it to be. He's never really felt under threat outside of the laning phase.
Yeah, definitely. Like, there was a lot of situations where you could just see, if the bot lane tower fell early, Tahm Kench could instantly Abyssal Voids right behind him, blow him out of his mid lane tower, and that Vel'Koz would just be a dead squid on a stick, which is something you see here in night markets. But
that's true. It's delicious.
Never mind that. But, overall, I felt like JD Gaming, they kind of threw away a lot of their advantages themselves. The multiple catches that RNG were able to get, the dive into between 2 towers, which was completely unnecessary. And you just saw Zoom right there, 777, calling out the clear love.
Yeah,
paying his respects.
As you have to, of course. The grandfather of the LPL. With RNG taking everything away from JD. Essentially, this final inhibitor is the last bastion. But Let Me is tanking up all the barrels and barely scratched him.
Damage.
Yeah. Minion wave flooding in to the tower right now, and Uzi's able to step up with no problems. In comes the Gangplank ultimate, but is there any follow-through from JD? Doesn't look like it. And that's just buying some time. They get themselves 30 seconds, but top lane pushing in, mid lane pushing in, and RNG, they're not going to stop.
I don't think buying time is enough.
I mean, what are you waiting for?
Such an important ultimate. Yeah, I felt like they needed to go in on that wave, or RNG are just going to come in on this wave. Like, what's stopping them?
Yeah, there's no Gangplank ultimate, right? Like, it's got a longer cooldown. And Let Me just steps up to the tower. Ming's there, so is Uzi. So tower goes down. Slightly harder to push now immediately into this inhibitor, but it's only going to take a couple seconds. Clid, he's stealthed up.
He wants to go in. They want to defend this last inhibitor, but now Zoom's backing out.
They're not feeling it. JG is just like, well, we can't win the fight. There's a top wave pushing in. Double supers up there. So if we go for the fight, even if we win, we're probably going to be losing a Nexus turret.
Things are not going to be better. If you're going to use one ultimate, why not just use all of them at the same time?
This is when you just need to embrace Rogue Warriors. You know, just come out swinging.
Is this position better than the previous position?
Instead of slowly dying right here, because then RNG will open up onto you. Tamcatch explodes in front of Uzi. Arrow comes back and just delays the inevitable. Laser coming across Clid. He has to flash out of this one, and in comes Uzi. He smells blood on the water. More versus one up against Zoom, but in comes the rest of the team. He is not fighting alone. Zoom gets out of the fight. He managed to barely escape, but the rest of the team not going to be so lucky. Uzi still pushing into the team. Yagao drops.
Trying to save it.
I managed to die though. Loken, the one-man defense, pushing back onto Lemmy, looking for the triple. He has the shield, but the minion wave's there. They will close out the game. RNG take us to game 3.
And it was a bit closer than it needed to be, but I feel like RNG made their point. If you give me a 5v5 composition, I still can make the Kai'Sa work. It doesn't matter if our laning phase doesn't go as well as I would have expected. We know how to play this composition. We're familiar with it. We won MSI with it. We've taken down Asian games with it. We're confident that we're on the right path.
It just feels like trying to hammer, a square peg into a circle hole, right?
Yeah, it does feel that way.
It's just like there is no rhyme or reason to the Kai'Sa pick. It's just like first rotation every time, and it's just like at a certain point you will get bitten for it. We saw it in the first game. That was a major problem. Second game, yeah, you managed to overcome the problem by just being better in the situations, but like that's
just not the throw.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like it's not going to be a consistent strategy for you. But coming into the second game, a win is a win. You can't take that away from them, and it will be a game 3 coming in for RNG and JD.
Yeah, and it does feel like RNG, while going back to their roots, are exposing a lot of their own weaknesses in the meantime. Their persistence on going into this composition. We have to remember, if they're not going to have a good early game against JD Gaming, they're probably not going to have a great early game when they go to Worlds with the same type of composition. And this is the problem about RNG. This is what we've been worrying about for a very long time. They seem very set in their ways, and they don't seem to have the best in-game strategies for their early games.
I mean, frankly, it feels like for RNG, we should be past the training arc phase. You know, it's like we should be on the phase where they're just setting up to take the world. You know what I mean? And now we're tripping over one of the final hurdles towards the end of the split. And it's not even like their playoff spot has been locked. You know, we keep saying this, but this series really matters for them, and we need to see the top form come out of them coming into playoffs. And it's just like, okay, maybe if you're against another team at the bottom of the standings, then you can start hiding strategies. We saw that coming out from them of Asian games. It's just a very common thing in esports in general. But this is JD. This is JD Gaming. You know, like JD have the winning record against you. They seem to beat you every single time they play up against you. This is the 4th best of 3 they're playing up against them, and there's a good chance they lose this one as well. It's like RNG. We need to don't show your entire hand, right? But like show us something.
Yeah, please just show us something. And really, it is the 4th set we've seen being played between these two teams, and it is the 3rd time that's going to go all the way to game 3. So this is a very common occurrence. They're very bloody games, and JD Gaming have a very bad win rate in game 2s, actually.
They do indeed. Let's bring this back to the early game, though, because, again, I feel like the setup was good in coming in from JD, but it was then the team fights themselves when we look. Actually, this is more towards the mid-game here, where RNG are able to deflect the plays coming in from JD. Yeah,
this was a very good catch onto JD Gaming, and I feel like if Clid just had that ounce of more damage to take down Uzi, this fight would have been completely different. They would have taken down the mid lane tower relatively easily, been able to push into the jungle a bit easier. And we still do have to remember, even with RNG going on a comfortable setup, JD Gaming were 3K ahead in the early game. They had the tower advantages, and I think the big play that they should clean up is when they already won the bottom lane, they don't expect Uzi and Ming rotating towards the top side. So both times that RNG had made this play, Zuma's actually caught out and just died. And there was a massive momentum swing into RNG's favor. That's the one play I would say that if you want to snowball your early game even harder, you have to nail that down.
Yeah, and I feel like the difference between Game 1 and the JD win and RNG in the Game 2, because RNG, yes, they had the outplays and the situations, but that's all I really felt like they had, whereas JD, it felt like I had the setup from Champion Select. I felt very safe when I was watching JD. It was like, okay, now they have the setup, they even have the outplay, and that felt like the cherry on top, right? But whereas like when you're watching RNG, the entire meal was cherries, and it's just like, I don't know where the structure is, and it feels like it's going to fall apart any moment from RNG, but they still managed to find the win, right?
You need faith. You have Kaisa.
I just got to have faith.
You have Orange.
That's what I'm lacking.
It's going to be K. But really, RNG, I feel like their mid-game, they did, what they did really well was that they stuck their format together.
Right.
They never gave JD Gaming an actual chance to collapse on them, to pick them off. They knew their win condition was just scale up and try to push that vision out. So not giving chances is also a form of giving yourself a chance in that scenario.
That's true, but again, it just seems so disconnected from what we expect coming out of RNG. You know, this is RNG we're watching, but this was JD walking straight into
Classic
RNG.
JD.
Yeah, and I don't know what the call was right here. It felt like someone made the call and someone was like, should we bail? And no one said anything, so they just kept going as far as you could go. Just 21 minutes, and they were pushing into an inhib tower from RNG.
So that 100% was a Yagao call. So he started the play off with the Realm Warp. And you could see that Clay was just like a really awkward position. It was like, I actually can't reach him in this brush. I'm going to have to use my ultimate. And then everyone shows up to the spot. So, you know, JD Gaming, they're really known for messing up their 25 to 30 minutes, and that was a great example of that. That's kind of the spring JD Gaming for you. We were expecting the summer JD Gaming.
And I was expecting more problems to come out of this Vel'Koz pick, but I think in the end it actually did more good than damage, to be honest. In fact, Xiaohu will be picking up our MVP of this second game on the Vel'Koz pick. And I mean, this is Vel'Koz's third win in the LPL out of, I believe, 7 games now. So congratulations, Vel'Koz. You're slowly working your way up. I know the item builds and the runes are starting to slowly change as well for the pick.
Yeah, and the way they play it is really set up a kind of a funnel type of scenario. If they have a front-to-back composition, then Vel'Koz is allowed to dish out the majority of the damage. The only question is, you need to get Vel'Koz into that phase of the game. So, you know, props to Xiaohu. I felt like he played the early level 6 kill really, really well. The Twin Shadow power spike that he got, he instantly transferred that into a kill onto Yagao and prevented the Realm Warp from going elsewhere.
Yeah, only died once in the laning phase, but that play wasn't even set up by the Vel'Koz. It's just because it was unfortunate because, well, Lumao happened to be in the mid lane, you know, while they were setting up the play. So unlucky on that one, but it felt like for the rest of the game, the Vel'Koz had room to do whatever he wanted. For now, though, we are going to take a short break, but when we get back, we came in for our third and final game in Beijing.
Here we go.
让我们把故事传唱下去，继续书写 RNG 的传说。